Hello everyone. In this lecture, we'll be continuing the syllabus discussion for ethics. So let us begin. At first, we have aptitude and foundational value for civil services. What are the values? We have integrity, impartiality, and non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance, and compassion towards the weaker section. In this, it has been written here, a candidate should embed these values in their answer in order to enhance their answer or the value of their answer. Suppose we have a value of integrity. So how you can insert integrity in your answer? Say if a question is asked that someone is trying to bribe you, so will you take the bribe? So you do not have to write something like this, that I will not accept bribe. Okay, this is the wrong way. Now the right way will be, you have to write something like that, I will show integrity and will remain upright and will not accept the bribe. So this is how you have to insert various values like dedication to public service, objectivity, impartiality, etc. in your answer. Now for each of these values, you should also know their definition. Say for integrity, the definition is when you have or when you uphold a consistent set of moral principles. So this is the definition of integrity. Then you have to remember a quote with respect to them. One of the quote with respect to integrity can be, integrity is when you walk the talk. This is the quote for integrity. And then you should remember examples for integrity, like what is a real life example out of your life. Say you can write that the shopkeeper had given me 5 rupees extra, so I went to the shop and returned him back the 5 rupees. Then current based example. Then what are the famous personality based example of integrity? Say for Gandhi ji, he stole money one day, so he felt bad, so he showed his integrity and went back to his father and told him that I stole the money. So this is how you have to remember examples. Then we have Nolan committee and ARC second report recommendations with respect to these various values, what it has recommended with respect to integrity, impartiality, tolerance, empathy, etc. You should remember its recommendations. Then we have emotional intelligence, or what is known as EI. What is its concept, its utility, application in administration and governance? In this we have emotional intelligence. What is its definition? That you should know. Then what is the difference between emotional intelligence and emotions? Okay, emotional intelligence is using emotions intelligently. This is the biggest difference between both of them. And how can you develop it? You can develop EI by various sources, such as you can read, you can observe other people. Okay, you can also observe your own actions. This is how you can develop EI. Then what are the characteristics of an emotional intelligence person? Okay, one of the characteristics is that they remain motivated. Another is that they are able to understand other people, etc. Then role in personal and professional life. What is the role of emotional intelligence in personal and professional life? See, if you have emotional intelligence, then you can have good relations with other people. Okay, similarly, if you have emotional intelligence, then you can motivate your colleagues and you will not get angry also. So like this. Then why do we need it in public services? Why do we need emotional intelligence in public service? See, if a public servant has emotional intelligence, then he can empathize with poor, he can understand their feelings, etc. So this is why it is needed. Then how do you apply emotional intelligence? And then in brief, you should know about emotional quotient and social intelligence. Okay, then we have contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world, such as various philosophers, be it Chanakya, Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, then we have Aristotle. So what was their philosophy and what was their contribution to ethics or morality, etc. In this, statements of great personalities may be given in the question to explain and apply in present context. Okay, UPSC doesn't want thinkers' point of view, but how much the candidate has analyzed or utilized or applied the statement. Suppose a statement by Chanakya is given that if rule of law is missing, is missing, then it leads to Matsya Raj. Matsya Raj or fish law. That is the big fish eating small fish. Okay, so you have to explain this in present context. So in present context, you can write that missing rule of law is leading to public lynchings. In Corona time, we saw missing rule of law led to police brutalities. Okay, police was beating people. So something like this, you have to explain this statement in current context. Then we have thoughts and quotes by some famous thinkers can be collected at one place to quote them in your answers. Okay, you can enhance your answers by giving various thoughts and quotes with respect to what has been asked in this section. Okay, then we have public/civil service values and ethics in public administration. In this, you should know status and problem, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions. Then we have laws, rules, regulations, the difference between all three of them, and conscience as a source of ethical guidance, how conscience acts as a source. Then we have accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, and at last we have ethical issues in international relations and funding and corporate governance. Okay, so at first we have foundational values mentioned in Nolan Committee and second ARC. That should be known to you, that what are the values they have mentioned. Like they have mentioned integrity, objectivity, impartiality, okay, transparency, accountability. These are the foundational values mentioned by second ARC and Nolan Committee. So please read them very carefully. Then we have inputs from human value notes. What the human value notes that we have discussed in the earlier video lecture should be known to you, and you can use it as input. Then we have ethics in public administration. In this, you should know the second ARC report, what it has said with respect to code of ethics, code of conduct, and what is the code of conduct for ministers should be, what is the code of conduct for civil servants should be, what our ethical standards should be, how ethical standards can be maintained by ministers and civil servants, and what are the ethical issues in civil services. See, one of the ethical issues in civil services is that it is elitist in nature. It is exclusionary in nature. It lacks empathy at times. So these are some of the issues with respect to civil services, ethical issues. Then you should also know about Vohra Committee recommendations in just brief. Okay, this is not much important. In just brief, you can know. Then we have ethical concerns and dilemmas. What are the types and examples of ethical concerns and dilemmas, especially with respect to civil services? Suppose there's a college. Okay, it has been found out that this college has used wrong means to get an approval. And now you as a civil servant went to inspect that college, and now you want to close this college. But if you close this college, there are 500 other children who are studying in this college. So their future is also at stake, though they have done no mistake by themselves. Okay, so this is an ethical concern and dilemma. How are you going to deal with this ethical concern? This can be asked in examination. Then we have basic definitions, examples, and differences on keywords like laws, rules, regulations, and conscience. Okay, what is the difference between laws, rules, and regulations? Okay, for law is made by the government. Okay, rules are generally made by a wider section of society, such as you are living in a gated community, say. Okay, or you are living in a society, so there are rules there. Then regulation are generally made by family. So we should know the difference, that this is most formal and this is the most informal one. And then you should know that what are the consequences of breaking them. That for if you break law, you go to jail, but if you break regulations, there's very little consequences. So these are the things that you should know, their differences and definitions. And then you should also know about conscience. Okay, what are the various quotes given by Mahatma Gandhi with respect to conscience? What is definition of conscience and how it acts as a source of ethical guidance? Then we have accountability, the definition of accountability, how it helps in public administration, how accountability helps to ensure that there is proper public administration at the first place. Then we have problems with respect to accountability. What are the problems? Like in RTI, we have section 8, which does not allows for accountability. Similarly, we have various acts like Official Secret Acts. So these are some of the problems. And what solutions can be given or what solutions have been taken till now. Like we have now Lokpal and Lokayukt. This is one of the solution like this. Then we have ethical governance. What is its meaning and how to strengthen ethical governance? Okay, some of the ways in which you can strengthen is that you can provide code of conduct and code of ethics to civil services. Then we have conflict of interest. What is its definition? Okay, how can you ensure that there is no conflict of interest? That there is no conflict of interest. How can you ensure? One of the ways to ensure is that pre-disclosure. Okay, all the civil services, civil servants, and the politicians who join the public affairs should pre-disclose what are their income sources. Okay, what are their interests. So in this way, you can ensure that there is no conflict of interest. Then we have ethical issues in international relations and funding issues and solutions, and FCRA such as acts such as FCRA. Let me rub it little bit. So what are the ethical issues in international relations? Say USA. USA says that it supports democracies. Okay, but USA also supports Saudi Arabia, which is a dictatorship. USA has good relationships with China. Okay, though it is authoritarian government. So these are the ethical issues in the international relation scenarios. Okay, that the countries try to protect their interests rather than ethics in international relations. And then there are funding issues also. Like say for Pakistan, many countries fund Pakistan despite they know that it promotes terrorism. These countries fund Pakistan so to protect their interest in the international scenario. So like this. So what are the issues with this and what solutions can be taken? Then we have FCRA Act such as like this. Okay, this FCRA Act is also a double-edged sword. If you do not have FCRA Act, then the NGOs will try to destabilize your country. But if you have FCRA Act, then the genuine NGOs suffer from it. So this is a double-edged sword. Then we have at last corporate governance concept, how to promote CSR objectives, advantage and issues. In concept, you should know what corporate governance is its definition. Okay, the concept of corporate governance, that is people, profit and planet. This is another concept. Then how can you promote corporate governance? You can look at Uday Kotak committee recommendations. This is one of the good recommendations. Then we have CSR objectives. What is the meaning of CSR and what are its objectives? And at last we have advantages of CSR and issues with respect to CSR. One of the issues with respect to CSR is that sometimes it is leaked, sometimes it has been related with money laundering. Some companies have done money laundering using CSR. Another issue is that CSR is urban centric. Rural areas do not benefit from it. So like this, there are many issues with CSR also. So this more or less concludes our lecture. Thank you.